For all of us who have done phaco emulsification, every once in a while you hit the iris sphincter. This is a classic example of the defects that's left. If I see it intraoperatively while I'm operating, I repair it right at the time. In this particular patient, it seems so small that I didn't bother. And this gives us a perfect opportunity to demonstrate the use of the Siepser Sliding Knot in closing iris colobomas. And also the anatomy is nice and clear. That helps one align things properly. If you can see superiorly, the edge of the iris collarette, the pigmented collarette there, is very obvious. And that's where you should put your first suture, sort of like closing an abdomen. You start right in the middle. Here, I find it's best to start at the ends, where you can see the edge of the rupture of the pigment rough at the iris collarette. Here we get them well aligned, passing our CIF4 needle through there, exteriorizing it using a cannula, 27 gauge cannula, to dock the needle once it's in good position. And we verified that we have the sutures on a reasonably good spot. We use the Condon snare to remove the 9-0 proline and externalize the knot where it's tied, and we occasionally lose the grasp there. We have it repositioned. There we go. And then we tie it externally. The first tie is a triple knot. There's a couple of different ways of doing that. Once that's done, slide the knot into the eye to close the defect. Now, it's very tempting at this point to say, oh, that'll be fine, just leave the one knot in there, but it isn't as a rule. We go across again and square off the knot we created. Here we've tied it externally, slide the knot in. That closes the defect and gives us a pretty good anatomical approximation by introducing our intraocular scissors, in this case a retinal scissor. We then transact the sutures and make sure they're removed. Now, you are tempted to leave this secondary little peripheral iridotomy there. I recommend against that. Even if there's a small defect, it can really create havoc. So we close those as a rule. We've gotten both sides there. It can tend to gape a little bit once the eye is healed, and it varies. Sometimes it'll close spontaneously, but in this case it just looked a little too big for me. So we externalize the knot, tie it, and square it, and get everything right into position, making sure that that coloboma is completely closed. There's a slight pear shape to the iris that shouldn't be too disturbing. Often we can round it out by introducing a grabber and just sort of stretching that part right where it's pulled in, and that helps us get things just so. We'll have everything where we want it, and then add myostat and bring the pupil down to get an excellent cosmetic result. And this patient definitely noticed the difference post-operatively. There you have repair of iris coloboma.